That should be good now. Yes. All right, cool. Welcome, Rachel. Welcome, Melinda. She's coming from downstairs. How's everybody doing today? Great. You have to hear me yammering over here trying to figure out the not working sorts of things. Where is the thing for this? All right. MIA. Sure, whichever. Chat with a few people who were drop-ins new to the class. Anybody else who is new to me or new to the studio? Hi, welcome. Your name is?
Meg.
Hey, hi. So, new to the studio, right? You're saying? Oh, just new to me. All right. So, staying with you, probably some similar things for what to expect. I have my own language and my own way of saying some of the things, but we're generally talking about the same things here at the studio. If something isn't clear, doesn't make sense, feel free to ask, just call out if you need to or want to. Or if there is an alternative, something that you would like to do instead, feel free to, as an intermediate class. My idea is that everybody has a good understanding of their practice and of their bodies, and that we are at least open to the possibilities of inversion play at times. Today, don't have too much of that, but there is some space for shoulder stand at the end if people would like to, and I'll give some cues and support around that. Other thing, Sukhasana is a typical way how we start. I've been starting more recently here, I guess recently meaning the last couple of months, starting a version of Vajrasana where I'm just sitting back on the heels. If that feels all right on the ankles, go for it. You can place a block between the ankles if you would like to. You can choose to not change your seat if for whatever reason this is not comfortable. There's no reason to have to do any of these things if it's not right in your body. Any injuries I should be aware of? Any wants or needs for people from your practice today? Specific poses or kinds of poses or classes of poses? All right. Been playing with some forward folds here for the past couple of weeks. Continuing to do that here in the very physical manifestation of looking inward, of turning inward to ourselves as we get closer to the darkest day of the year. And we are now on the other side of the full moon, so even as the nights have been getting longer, they've been getting brighter, and now we're working toward darker and longer amounts of it. So forward folds is the thing I'm using to bring into that, to play with that. Welcome. Do find a comfortable seat. Let your hand rest on your belly or your thigh, or bring your hands to the heart center, or whatever feels right for you as you begin your practice, whether we are fully in Sukhasana or easy pose, or Vajrasana, lightning bolt pose. So these first couple of breaths be an opportunity to check on yourselves. Do you have some blocks and stretch? Oh, yeah, you. All right. You need any other cautious thing inside, all right? Nice full breath in, and a very intentional breath out. And one more time, just like that, allowing the exhale to be even more intentional by drawing belly button in and up. Sitting a little taller as the air moves up and out. And this is never going to work very well. And with your next inhale, following the movement of the breath, let the hands come back down to the thighs. And on the exhale, as the air rises up and out, will reach a little taller through the crown of your head. Let the eyelids flutter open or your gaze become more focused. And as you take your next full breath in, however you would like to start to make your way toward the tabletop position. A little easier with the transition if you're in Vajrasana. If not, just swing the legs to one side, hips to the other. And really try to start turning the volume up a little bit. Let me know if that's any louder. I will be on camera for most of the class. As you come into your first tabletop, sort of just move, allow yourself to move left and right, seeing how it feels through the wrist as your weight changes over the pressure points. Really spend some time here gripping the mat with your finger pads and with your fingers spread wide. And toes tucked just gives us a lot more support where we start to come into some balance here very soon. But you can have the toes untucked if you would like to test and play with balance a little bit more. Without lifting here, really push the floor away from you. Let the mid-back rise up and the shoulder blades come apart. And on the exhale, start to hug the shoulder blades together. And maybe it's exaggerated and the heart really melts much closer here to the floor. And then so we've felt the two extremes here. On the next inhale, push your floor away from you again, letting the shoulder blades come apart. And as you fire up your core and hug arms to center and hug inner thighs to center, start to hug shoulder blades together and find a spot that is not as extreme, that feels neutral here with the chin lifting so your gaze is over the top of your mat. And on your next inhale, as we put more weight into both hands and into the left knee, step your right foot back. And you can press through the heel, get that stretch through the back of the leg. You'll be doing some things with that. Maybe it's little pulses, maybe you just stay with the pressure and the effort of stretching if that's how your body would like to stretch and open. And on the next inhale, bring your shoulders back over the wrists. Walk your left hand forward. Come onto finger pads here. And you can keep this hand to the floor to support with balance as you lift from the inner right thigh, leg away from the floor. Maybe reach left arm forward and away from the floor for a balancing table. And if you typically tuck your toes and you have your toes untucked, you'll probably notice a difference. And for 2 breaths here on the exhale, draw knee and elbow to center. They don't have to touch. They can actually bypass or they cannot meet at all. And inhale to extend back out. Exhale, one more time to extend or pull in. Inhale to extend out. And the next time that you extend out here, keep your right leg lifted. Bring your left hand to the floor. Send your heart forward like you're making a cow stretch as you bring the right ball of the foot down to the floor. And now with more weight into the right foot in both hands, draw left knee to chest, core plank. Good. And from your core plank, press the hands down and away as you rise up to three-legged dog. And you can lengthen the leg or you can take three-legged down dog with a hip opener. And if that left knee is lifting, intentionally push more into the right hand so that the right shoulder lifts and we stay neutral here. Nice, everybody. If you'd like to, you can make some circles with the knee, with the ankle, little movements as you're waking yourself up your way. And ultimately, as it feels right for you, from your three-legged dog with a hip opening, come back to your three-legged dog. Come forward to three-legged plank now, backing up where we started. Draw the knee under the hip on the left, so you can bring left knee to the floor, bring right knee to the floor. You can have the toes tucked or untucked as you press the hips back toward the heels just to give some relief to the wrists. So not a completely deep here for child's pose, but working toward it. And if you'd like to, same thing here, you can lift the palm away from the floor, but keep the finger pads grounded. If that just takes care of the wrists and forearms in other good and meaningful ways. If you have the palms lifted, bring them back down to the floor. All of us with our hands heavy and hugging back toward the knees. Push into the feet to come back to your tabletop position where we started. And as soon as we do, step the left foot back. Ball the foot on the floor, either little pulses as the back of that leg starts to open, or one continuous, slow, steady, gentle stretch, pressing through the heel. shoulders back over the wrists. Walk your right hand forward, keep the finger pads grounded. As you inhale, lift left thigh parallel to the floor. As long as we keep our core strong and our fire active, then the hip doesn't drop and the pubic bone doesn't change shape. And so we're more neutral in getting a good, stable, good aligned stretch. Maybe right hand reaches forward, palm hugs the center, inner left thigh hugs the center, balancing table. And from here on the exhale, you can draw knee and elbow toward each other, toward center, past each other, or not even touching. Inhale to extend out. Exhale to come back through. Nice. Inhale to extend out once more. And from here, keeping the left leg lifted, bring the right hand fully to the floor. Bring the ball of the left foot down. And as you put more weight into that foot and into both hands, draw right knee to chest, core plank. Inhale, extend back to three-legged dog. Maybe knee bends again with the hip opener. And if you're doing so, now you're pushing more into the left hand to prevent the left shoulder from dropping. Keeping your core strong, and then maybe making hip circles or knee circles or ankle circles. And on the in-breath, come back to your three-legged dog. Exhale, bring that left foot down to the floor, down dog. Coming up really high on the heels, as much of a bend through the knees as you need to. And as the hands hug the center and push down and away, feel and sense that the biceps are framing out the ears, and that our belly button is drawing in and up, so we're lengthening through the low back. You're already getting a stretch through the low back. And maybe if you have the knees bent, over the next breath or two, press through the inner thighs to let the legs get longer, to let the heels descend a little bit more. Maybe it's a lot, maybe it's not a lot. Good. And now with our next in-breath, coming forward to plank, knees down for table. Either take feet to one side, hips to the other, or you can cross at the ankles. And have a seat with your legs out in front of you. Setting up here for Baddha Konasana. It's early. Bring the inseam of the soles to touch. Let the knees start to move to the left and right, keeping the soles of the feet touching. You can move flush away from the sit bones to feel more grounded. You can have blocks underneath at any point between the knees and the thighs to support yourself. You might lean a little bit so you're more forward on the sit bones. That automatically starts to tilt the pubic bone forward and changes the shape of the hips if you would like to turn this into a forward fold. Both thumbs alongside the fingers take hold of the fronts of the ankles. Pull shoulder blades onto the back so you come forward here. That already increases the stretch through the inner thighs. And you can very intentionally keep reaching right knee wide and down, and left knee wide and down, or make little movements through the legs to continue to warm up the hips, if that is where your body is today. We'll be over just about 3 more breaths if you would like to. Sending the heart forward, but continuing to find a little bit of a cow stretch as the elbows maybe press into the inner thighs. Deepening the stretch through the hips as the heart reaches forward, and we'll start to notice how the stretch feels on the low back now with both knees away from midline. Probably feels a little different than your down dog. Good. If you're in this forward fold, that makes it easier to reach where your strap is. Take a hold of your strap with the chance that you might need it. On the inhale, come to sit a little bit more, or to sit more upright. Lift the left knee, extend the left leg out. You can keep the right shin or the right foot touching the left shin. Because we're not putting pressure on the knee, you can come in closer and take the strap around the ball of the foot if you would like to. And so from staying upright, then we walk the hands down to tighten the strap, and maybe the elbows start to bend to pull us forward. You can walk the hands to the floor, and again, all of us, oh, I got a strap for you, don't worry about it. To keep your cow stretch, so keep the heart lifting, and either start to bend the elbows, sending the heart forward and the gaze over the tops of the toes, or maybe you take hold of the inner and outer edges of the feet. There you go. And again, elbows still bending to take you a little deeper here into the forward fold. One more full breath in to find a little more length. One more exhale here to fold it in a little deeper. Again, without this meaning it's your deepest. On the next inhale, either walk the hands in or start to let the strap have some slack as you start to come more upright. Lift the right knee, extend the right foot out. Draw left knee in and find your second side Janu Sirsasana. Strap ball of the foot, hands to the ankles, the edges of the feet or the shins, or keeping the hands on the floor as we walk ourselves forward. Heart lifting, gaze over the toes. Keep pushing through that big toe ball mound. And the hands press down and hug back. That helps to support the cow stretch, which helps to keep the spine here more neutral in your forward fold. And already getting into some deep looking inward here, forward fold kind of things. With your next in-breath, let the hands walk back once again, coming more upright. Lift the left leg, left knee, extend the left leg out, lean back a little bit and just shake everything out where it happens to be. Some people will just cross at the ankles and come into down dog. For others, we can cross at the ankles, come back into Vajrasana where we were, and you can have your blocks with you. It doesn't matter where you are on the mat, we'll figure it all out in the end. Sitting back in Vajrasana, transition point we've been using here to get to the top of the mat instead of down dog is either using the blocks or hands to support you as you hug knees to chest and find balance on the toes. Toe stand or Padangusthasana. You can stay here just to build some awareness if you would like to. You don't have to come through the rest of the transition. Maybe it's hands on thighs. And maybe as inner thighs hug the center and inseam of the soles hug the center, start to stand down through the feet, rising up to stand. Maybe keeping the heels lifted as you reach the arms overhead for your tall mountain. If not, it's all right. Exhale, heels find the floor, arms down by your side, mountain pose. And it doesn't matter where you are on the mat. That transition we can use to get back and up and down and do lots of other things with it. But we'll take where we're doing seated and do standing now here, or Maybe fingers to the floor or blocks out in front of you. And maybe not. Nice. If you have the hands further down and you're deeper in the fold, bring your hands back as you slowly start to come upright. As you find yourself more in an upright figure four chair, joining everybody else. Come to stand, maybe keep this left leg lifted, extend out through the left heel. Lots of core work to do, so on the exhale, bring the left foot back to the floor, hands by your side, shake it all out. Take the extra breath if you need to, there's no need to rush. Otherwise, weight moves into the left foot, right heel lifts, right knee opens wide to start. Continuing the flow here. Foot to shin, foot to thigh. Try to avoid the knee as much as you can. And as you find your balance, if there's a couple of other places for you to go, go for it. Nice. And coming into our figure four chair option again, right hand takes right ankle. Ankle to thigh for figure four, either standing with the leg straight, starting to sit back and down into a high chair, maybe starts to get into a lower chair. But right foot stays active, right knee stays heavy. Hands to heart center, and maybe if there is this openness through the low back and the glutes, keeping your heart lifted, you can bring more of chest to shin, fingers to the floor or blocks. Maybe that knee can bend even deeper as the hands find a place to support you. Good. And if you're here in deeper with it, from hands to the floor or blocks, back to heart center, sitting more upright, and as all of us find ourselves in a more upright chair, standing through the left leg, maybe keeping the right knee lifted, or bring the foot to the floor if you need to. Inhale to extend out, do the core work to keep it lifted. Use your full exhale to bring the foot to the floor. Release the hands by your side. Really shake everything out now. The legs, shoulders. And we'll come into a sun salutation B and really start to pick up some speed here. Another thing we've been playing with, if you would like to, at the top of your mat with your sun salutation B, we have our blocks, probably not on the highest setting, probably in the lower setting, maybe the lowest setting. But before we come into it, as we're finding ourselves in a chair, which we've done already, we can lower down further, lift the heels like where we started with our Padangusthasana, coming upright, and then knees to chest and heels to sit bone, feet away from the floor, kicking back into a plank pose. Good. Some of you are already there for it. Awesome. Eager and ready for it, so that's awesome. Move through your transition though, into your chair, down to the floor, back to your plank. You can place the blocks to the side. You can do cobra, or in sun salutation B, it's chaturanga into up dog. Making your way back to down dog. In your down dog, as you get there, no need to rush. Right leg lifts, but keep the outer right hip heavy. Go to the toes, feel like you can see the pointing to the floor. Come through core plank if you would like to, or just immediately take a big step forward with that right foot. You can stay low with fingers to the floor. You can lower the back knee for a low lunge instead, or crescent lunge with the back knee lifted. One full inhale, hug to center. Inner thighs, feet, hips, shins. On the exhale, extend out in all directions. One more in breath, and exhale, frame it up. Step back to your down dog. Take the extra breath if you need to, or as soon as you find yourself back in your down dog, inner left thigh lifts, the leg away from the floor without the hip opening. Through core plank to your crescent lunge, low lunge, or any version thereof. Nice full inhale and exhale to deepen. Inhale once more and exhale to frame it out. Step back to your down dog. Either take 3 breaths in your down dog or inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, down dog. And in your down dog, take a breath. Some of us have just gotten there. Getting ready for either Warrior One or Crescent if Warrior One is not comfortable for you. And for me, Warrior One is a slightly shorter stance. So on the inhale, right leg to the sky. On the exhale, maybe right foot just steps to the line across your wrists. So just a few inches shorter, which for me makes it easier to spin the left heel down to keep the left toes pointing to the front corner of your mat. So as I rise up for my Warrior One, there is a sense of, rather than hip opening, that left hip is hugging forward, that right hip is hugging back. Inhale to reach up. Good. Hug to your center, and if you need to widen that front foot for more balance, there's nothing to prevent you from doing so. If you are playing with balance, then heel to heel alignment is where you're really going to find some need for balance. Good. On the exhale, reach your hands down by your sides. To lift the left heel and start hinging from the hips here, reaching belly toward thigh, not to come into a complete forward fold, but so that we can start rocking forward and back a little bit. And the more that we come forward, the back toes get lighter. Maybe just play with tapping that toe down. Or as you come forward, you start to stand through the right leg, rising up into Warrior Three, Virabhadrasana 3. With your arms reaching back by your side. Good. We've got our blocks there in front of us. We can turn this here into a twist. With some bend through that right knee. Bring your left hand to the floor, directly under the left shoulder. Keep the inner left thigh lifting and keeping that leg active. You can point through the left toes. And on the exhale, start to twist and turn the torso towards your standing right leg, with the right hand reaching to the sky and trying to prevent, with your muscle energy and your awareness, the outer hip from dropping. Good. On the in-breath, with again another bend into that standing knee, bring both hands to the floor or the blocks in front of you. Start to bend that right knee to bring that left foot back to the floor. And again, sticking with Crescent style with the back heel lifted, or Warrior One with the shorter stance and the back heel down, with or without the blocks, coming onto finger pads, and pushing the right foot down and away as you send the right hip back to start to straighten your right leg. And maybe you're staying torso parallel to the floor and giving yourself some space here. Or if you would like to, trying to bend the elbows, more of belly to thigh, more of chest toward knee, more of nose towards your ankle. Into Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose, or intense side stretch, which is probably what everybody's right leg is telling you right about now. Good. With your next exhale, put a nice bend into that right leg to free it up. Lift the back heel, plant the hands firmly through core plank, or just immediately step that right foot back. Measure yourself out for your down dog once again. With the armpits lifted, with the back body long and neutral. Maybe the legs getting straighter without it having to mean that they are perfectly, and the heels don't have to be touching. Got a second side to do here. Maybe you shorten your stance here already in your down dog. On the inhale, left leg lifts. On the exhale, step it through, maybe just to where your wrist lines are for your shorter stance, either keeping the back heel lifted or back heel spun down at an angle, and rise up Warrior One. Really push into that front foot as you stay grounded and heavy through the inner edge of that back foot. Left hip hugs back, right hip tries to hug forward, trying to bring something closer to parallel, but not necessarily maybe some rocking movement back and forth. And with each time you're moving forward, can that back foot get a little lighter? Coming to a place where it's lighter, and then you're standing through the left leg to rise up for your warrior three. Continuing, even whether you have blocks before or not, that sense of cow stretch, lifting through the heart. Nice. Put a bend into that standing leg so that our right hand definitely can make it to the floor or the block. Inner right thigh keeps lifting, outer right hip keeps lifting, and on the exhale, twist your torso to your standing left leg. Keep pressing through the back heel. You can point the toe if you would like to, however it happens to be for you. And then coming out of the twist with the inhale, using the blocks. Starting to bend that front knee to bring that back foot back down to the floor. And again, choosing here as we move into Parsvottanasana, is it crescent lunge leg or warrior one leg? With blocks or not, the left foot pushes down in a way as the left hip reaches back to straighten that left leg. You can cow stretch here and using the blocks wherever you need to maintain that. So the upper body is lifted and the exhales tell us how it is through the hips because it's more belly and thigh connecting rather than this gap between the thighs and our belly and then our nose still reaching toward the shin. Now one's left leg is probably talking to you. Good. If there's space to go a little deeper with your next exhale, find a deeper forward fold using the space that's been opened and released. And on the inhale, that follows. Start to straighten the legs. Whether you have blocks or not, bring both hands to the inside of that left foot and walk it as wide as your mat. Put more weight into the hands in that left foot and take a big step forward or many steps forward with the right to be as wide as your mat and to mirror the left. And if you need a wider stance for our Malasana, you'll keep the heels where they are and turn the toes wider so they come off the mat. If you're playing here where we've been doing for the past couple of weeks of a shorter stance, keep your toes where they are and turn the heels in closer for a tighter Malasana pose. And as both knees bend, bring forearms to thighs, coming more upright here to start. And if you can go further with the heels, staying grounded, bend at the knees more, hinge at the hips even more, bring upper arms into the inner thighs, into the inner knees. Some people may want to turn this into Bakasana or crow pose, coming onto your hands and finding that those chaturanga arms and working toward playing with one foot lifted and then down and then the other lifted and down. If you would rather not come into that, you can roll onto your back and take Happy Baby for something very similar, or you can sit a little longer if that's a thing that you would like to do in your Malasana. So a couple of places to play here. I said I didn't have any inversions written in, but if you are a person who turns your crow pose into a headstand, there's nothing that's going to prevent you from doing that on my end. If that just sounds wild, another time in the future, it can be. Good. If you're in your crow pose, come back off of the hands. And whether you're in Happy Baby on your back or not, however you want to, we're going to find ourselves coming into lizard lunge. So you might come back into your Malasana pose. Keep your right foot in line with the side of the mat there. Take a big step back with the left for a lizard lunge. And we'll stay up on the hands here. You can have the knee down or back knee lifted, up to you. If you would like to go further, feel free to lower down the forearms to the floor or blocks. But staying more upright here and adding to this, adding some balance into our lizard lunge. If you're here on your arms or your forearms, you're going to back out of that front knee a little bit so that you can take your right hand underneath the right shin, underneath the right thigh and off to your right, and walk your left hand off to the left. With your left hand staying grounded and coming back into the lunge on that right knee, maybe the right hand starts to lift up away from the floor to bring you more forward toward the floor. You can turn the palm to the sky and bring the back of the right hand to the low back. You can come onto left fingertips. You can reach left arm wide, put more weight into the right foot if you're doing so. You can spin the left palm to the sky and bring the back of the left palm to the low back on the left side. Then back up however you might need to. Take a nice full breath, bring that back knee down if you need to. We have our second side to do. And so one step remaining, that left foot's going to come forward again, wide like it did when we started, but instead of coming into Malasana, put weight into the left foot into both your hands. Take a big step back with the right. Knee down or not, on your hands or not. Forearms to the block or floor if you would like to. But knowing where we're going. Come out of the lunge on that left knee a little bit. So you can take the left hand behind the left heel off to the left. Right hand off to the right. Come back into the bend here, deep bend on the left knee. And depending on how high up the knee is to the shoulder, as you lift the left hand away from the floor, it's going to pull you in and down deeper into the forward fold. Spin the palm to the sky, bend the elbow, come on to the low back. Maybe come onto right fingertips. Maybe right hand is hovering. Maybe right palm spins to the sky and comes back to touch and reach for the low back on the right side. And just a breath there before releasing with control. Hands down to the floor. Put more weight into the hands as you slide that left foot back. Knees lower to the floor, and again, either hips to one side, feet to the other, or cross at the shins. Have a seat here with the knees bent, heels down, toes lifted out in front of you for Navasana, or boat pose. You can stay on the hands behind you. You can have the hands reaching behind the thighs. You can have the hands to the fronts of the knees. You can have this without support, reaching forward, but without the shoulder blades coming on the back. So we want heart reaching to the front of the room. That's going to help with balance, even as the hands are reaching. Heels press down, inner thighs hug the center. Keep doing both of those things. Now hug heels to sit bones and sit a little taller. See that? Nice. Stay active through the upper arms here, and either one knee at a time or both at once. On the exhale, draw knees to chest, reach heart to the front of the room. With the next inhale, lift shins more parallel to the floor, maybe. With the next inhale, reach out through the heels as the inner thighs get heavy. Maybe the arms lift a little higher or a lot higher. And on the exhale, knees bend, heels find the floor. Hands come down to support you. That deserves a nice loud exhale. There it is. One more time like that. And always something to add. Some of us will go into low boat. The transition though here is staying more upright with the heart lifted and knees to chest, right? And with our core active, it's really about lifting the low back. If you're transitioning into low boat, you're going to want to start to tuck the tailbone a little bit more. You're going to come off of the tailbone and more to like your lower back of your hip, your pubic bone, pelvic bowl, whatever it is. Come down halfway. Inhale to rise back up. Down again, all right? So you can change the support if you're working toward something deeper. You can immediately start again here without the support. Heels down, thighs to center, heels back. sit bones so that we're more forward on the front of our sit bones. Heart keeps reaching forward, opposite knee starting first, or maybe now it's both knees coming in at the same time. Inhale to lift, shins a little higher and settle. Inhale to let inner thighs get heavy, reach out through the heels or the toes, your choice. Staying here just for 2 more breaths, or exhale, lowering down, letting the feet and shoulder blades hover. Then your next inhale, rise back up. Join everybody who is still here. Knees bend, hands find the floor. Another very big sigh. All right. So, where do you want to go here with this? Working toward a deeper forward fold, one thing we'll do just before we come into that though, is a half hero pose forward fold called Trimuka Ekapadasana. And I will say that repeatedly while we're in it because that will take our minds off of the sensation going through the extended leg here. If you know and love Virasana and the hips can find the floor, you can take half Virasana without any support. You can take your blanket and give yourself some support. You can take a block and give yourself some support. And so you'll have it toward the back of your mat. Find yourself here in tabletop position. And then your right knee will come more to your midline. Right outer ankle will push into the block if you're using the block. And as you send the hips back toward the block, we find ourselves in a supported hero's pose. Right? A lot less pressure on both knees, a lot less pressure on the tops of the ankle. Though this feels like you could go further, there's nothing to prevent you from it, and if it doesn't feel comfortable going further, come back to here. We're going to keep our right leg in our Virasana pose, so lean a little bit to the right, bring your left foot forward. You can have your strap if you need it. We're going to extend the left leg out. Now, if you're sitting on a block, there's a lot more space between you and the floor, and it can be possible to lock out that knee with too much downward pressure. So intentionally keep a micro bend through the knee, push intensely through the left big toe ball mountain, like you're hitting the gas pedal on your car, or a car if it's not yours. And slowly and gently over the course of several breaths, let the inner thighs get heavy in a way that really supports and looks out for your left knee. You can stay more upright here. You can take the strap around the ball of the foot. You can walk the hands forward, take hold of the foot however you'd like to, but it is toes pointing straight up to the sky, finding a forward fold. Similarly here, can it be more, or what does it take to make it more belly to thigh, rather than just focusing on the back bend or the forward fold shape. You have to do a second side, so check in and notice how the side feels. Be gentle with yourself. Another breath or 2 if there's space to go further. Good. On the in-breath, slowly start to become more upright. Lean to the right, bring your left heel back. Keep it here in Vajrasana, and maybe you're just staying in Vajrasana. Lean to the left, bring your right foot forward, pause for the breath. And then extend out through the right heel, keeping a micro bend in the right knee. And as you push through the right big toe ball mound over the course of a couple of breaths, the inner right thigh can get heavier, but this action just through the foot, even if you were on the pants on, if you have, well, one person has shorts, you can sometimes see like the muscles move around the kneecap and the knee adjusts, and that's just making and giving it some good support so it doesn't lock out. You can stay more upright. There's already a lot happening in the stretch for the front leg, the deep bend on the back leg, or with strap or not. Keeping a cow stretch through the chest. Reaching heart more toward the toes, thinking more of belly to thigh, more of shoulders and heart lifted. We'll be here for just about 3 breaths as well. Holding in. Holding in. And some fairly intense forward folds here. Noticing how the back of the leg is slowly start to come more upright. Lean to the left. Bring your right knee back, your right heel back. Lift through the hips, remove the block, and on the exhale, cross at the ankles and come to your Sukhasana pose, where some of us started in the beginning of class. Working on coming towards something called Kanchasana. I've led here before. We have some new people to meet, some new people to the studio. It's also called Heron's pose. I will show it here in just a second, but you can still have a block. You can have a blanket underneath you if you would like to as well. And here in the very beginning of class, we started with Janu Shirshasana. Right? I was like, this is early, and that was a sign that we're going to go further than this at this point in class. You can return to this. This here is our Janu Shirshasana here, like a tree pose variation. Heron's pose is balancing on the sit bones and doing this same thing while the leg is lifted and coming to the forehead. So the one thing that does change with this is that instead of the foot being wider, our foot's going to come more across and the ankle's going to find to the outside. You have the option for your strap. You can take yoga toe lock. You can take hold of inner and outer edges of the feet. And depending on how it is with your body, you can interlace the fingers here. But just like we did in our boat pose, we want heart continuously reaching forward and knee continuing to draw back, coming to a place where we're here. And I'll give us cues for this. I'm just demoing here still, but if you're eager and ready to go for it, know it, go for it. And over the course of our several breaths, we want to keep lifting through the heart and keep letting the inner thigh of the left leg get heavy and coming more upright through the leg. And I saw a picture online of someone that the foot is like straight up into the sky here while they're doing this. And that's not where we have to be. It's not where I will ever be. I can say that with a lot of certainty. So we're going to come into Janu Shirshasana first and then come back to rise up into that. But if you know that's not right for you, you'll stay in your Janu Shirshasana and deepen that over the course of the several breaths we'll do in Heron's pose. All right? So we'll take our left leg out to start, bring our right leg into our Janu Shirshasana style, just so we can move some flesh away from the sit bones and see how this starting pose feels after 40 minutes of this practice. So our heart stays lifted. Our inner thigh is heavy, feeling that stretch through the back of the leg. Add the bend to the knee if you need to. Let the hands start to walk forward. If you used the strap earlier, maybe you notice it's a little bit, you can take hold of the ankles or the edges of the feet without the strap. There's no reason to not use the strap though. And if you know that you don't want to go further than this, stay here and continue to breathe, lifting on the inhales and lengthening, and then exhale, folding in. If you'd like to come into Heron, you're going to slowly start to walk yourself in and up. Bring that left knee with you for a bit. Take that right foot across so you have a different base for the pose. And either the strap is still there for the ball of the foot, or hands take the inner and outer edges of the feet. Keep your core active, heart hugging the center, knee hugging to chest as you can, stay as upright as possible. Start to press out through the left heel. Inner left thigh gets heavier on the exhale. On the inhale, lift taller through the spine. And on the exhale, start to bend the elbows to draw more of the foot higher than your eye line. 2 more breaths here. Each inhale, an opportunity to reset and open some space. And the exhale then to make use of whatever was released, becoming a little clearer. Thanks, everyone. Heron's pose it is. Great. On your exhale, let the knee bend back into center. Extend the leg back out. Have your strap just out there where you like for the second side. Any questions or anything about Heron's pose? Cool. Extend right leg out, draw left knee. Find your tree style or Janu Shirshasana to start. With the strap or not, with your right big toe ball not active and your right knee protected, walk the hands forward. And as you find more belly to thigh connection, inhale, continue to lengthen through the spine. On the exhale, the hands can walk a little further, and maybe it's more connection to the thigh. Maybe you're starting to find some connection to the knee. probably want to come down off of it. Two things here to stretch out our front side of the body after all of this. One is reverse table, reverse plank. Some people know what's coming after that. I'll keep it a secret for everyone who's new. Inhale, come onto your hands behind you. This is true whether you're doing reverse table or reverse plank. And in reverse plank, we're working on stretching the fronts of the ankles and toes reaching to touch the floor as we lift the hips. Reverse table will be the feet firmly grounded here. Either have your fingers pointing away from you for more openness and more support through the shoulders, or fingers and toes pointing in the same direction, which creates internal rotation and then asks for additional effort to lift through the heart and let this be an opening through the front body. So whatever's staying on the floor, hands and heels or hands and soles of the feet, press down through those parts that are staying, lift the hips, send hips to the sky, heart to the sky. If you're in plank, start to stretch through the tops of the feet to try to bring the toes to touch. Keep your gaze looking down the front side of the body to start. On the exhale, start to bend the knees or lower the hips without the hips coming to the floor completely. Let the hips move further back, past the wrists, and on the exhale, hug right knee to chest, lift the right foot, bring it down. Left foot lifts, bring it down, send the hips forward, come back into your reverse table or your reverse plank. Some prep work there for a very intense pose, Marichyasana. There it is. Good. We're lifted here. If this feels right through the neck, reach the crown of the head to the back of the room. Maintain neutral through this neck to start. And if this feels all right in your body, without losing your attention to the hands, to the feet, to the legs and glutes being active, start to tilt your chin to the sky so the back of the head moves towards the upper back without the head falling back and your breath changing. Then inhale, lift the head once again. Gaze looks down the front side of the body. Start to send the hips back between the ankles once again. And you can play with lifting the left foot first and lowering, and then right foot, or maybe lifting both feet and down for just a fraction of a second. That's all it has to be. Good. We're gonna want to get off of our wrists here now. So scooch down the mat. We're gonna finish here in bridge pose for one more big opening through the front side of the body. At this point, if you are somebody who would like to come into shoulder stand and you know how to, and it is part of your practice to turn your bridge into a shoulder stand, feel free to do so. If you would like an inversion but shoulder stand is not right for you, when you rise up into bridge, you'll be able to place a block underneath your sacrum, just below your waistline, so the hips are lifted a little bit, and then you draw knees to chest and extend both legs to the sky for a very supported inversion. But bridge pose to start. Bend both knees, the feet on the floor close to you. Press the back of the head into the floor so you don't have the neck touching. And then press down through the feet, press down through the upper arms, through your triceps, press down through your shoulder blades to send knees forward, hips to the sky. Hips to the sky. Activate the glutes to keep you lifted. If you'd like to make this a supported bridge, you've got a block you can place there again as well. You can deepen your bridge in any way that you would like to. Some people are taking binds. We've been doing binds for the past couple of weeks. You're welcome to do that. You're welcome to turn this into a shoulder stand, where you lower the hips, draw knees to chest, let the hands support the low back as you continue to hug the knees towards your forehead, lifting the low back, hands pointing, fingers pointing toward the sky, extend legs to the sky for your shoulder stand. Just like in bridge, we don't turn our head side to side here. It's not carrying weight, but it does change the shape of the shoulders and the back body. For everybody who is doing shoulder stand and is aware of it, when everyone else comes down for their final poses, you are welcome to come into Matsyasana or fish posture. It's a great counterbalance for the neck in our shoulder stands. If you're in your shoulder stands, keep your toes reaching to the sky. I'm not going to come into Halasana today. We have done a lot of forward folds. If it's part of your practice, feel free to do so, but let it be intentional. pressure and the effort in the body. If you're still in your bridge, lower down. If you're in your shoulder stand, come down into Matsyasana or fish posture. If you're taking Viparita Karani, that's the legs up but with a block, or bridge pose. Take any final poses that feel right for you. Happy baby, a Vipassana pose, anything that just you're connecting to in this moment as you bring your practice to a close. We're just right before 1 o'clock. This is amazing thing to have us already doing Shavasana with 2 minutes to go. I typically do create space for about 3 minutes or more of Shavasana, so that means going for a couple of minutes past 1 o'clock. If that does not work for you, give yourself 10 breaths in your Shavasana. Collect your things, but leave your stuff, and I will put everything back. But as we're getting ready here for Shavasana for the rest of us, make any adjustments with your props, with your clothing, with the items you have around you. tension on your back. You're rocking side to side, you roll fully off to one side and press yourself up to have a seat. You can rock and roll right on up into your seat. Whatever your closest foot is to you in the body, and you bring it to the midline of your body and closer to touching the body so the right inner leg knee is wider. The outer foot, bring that heel to ankle the inner foot. So you have a wider seat called Siddhasana or accomplished pose. After spending 55 minutes here of looking inward, all the things that our body starts to do and tell us when we look inward with intensity. You can stay here, seated in Siddhasana, letting your awareness move through the body to notice the subtle and sometimes not so subtle shifts and changes of the asana practice of mindful movement. And if you'd like to join with me in the sound of one Om, exhale completely as you bring your hands to heart center. To inhale fully. Light in me, bows to the light in each of you. Namaste, everyone. Hey, everyone, thank you for coming in. This is officially my last Wednesday for the year because the next 2 Wednesdays are holidays. And I don't think there's anything happening on Christmas Day, and I think that Mariel is teaching the 10:30 class on January 1st. And then all the Wednesdays after that, except for when I'll be away for some work stuff, will be back with me here teaching the intermediate class. We'll be here on the next 2 Mondays for the 75-minute 6:30 p.m. class. If you're interested, you can catch me there, and I may pop on elsewhere just as some people are going away and holidays and vacation and such. No need to sit and listen to everything that there is for the announcements. There's the announcement sheet. But if you're interested in anything coming on, hello Rachel, thank you for coming. Hopefully you could hear and see most of everything. Mariel and Alex have their Inner Odyssey Yoga Retreat in Amorgos. I hope I'm saying that right, Greece. What was it?
Amorgos.
Oh, of course I should ask you, and of course I did that with you here. Do you want to read the card for me? If you book by January 1st, there's a $200 discount on the amount. It is the 20th to the 26th and involves 2 yoga classes a day and hiking and spa treatment and lots of good food. So check out some more information about that. The paper book drive is still going on for downstairs. PG-13-ish content of paperback books being donated to a or some mental health patients in the city here. Other things that are happening, just 2 more options here for the rest of the year. Women's Winter Solstice Ritual, the Return of Light with Shaya on Friday the 20th, 6:30 p.m. And that's Saturday, Roll into Rest with Adriana and Anisha on the 21st in the afternoon. Then in the new year, the 300-hour advanced teacher training is starting with Mariel and Alex. If you have your 200-hour teacher training you'd like to go further, that's an opening there. As well, there is a beginner series with Eric on Tuesdays for 6 weeks. Forever Postpartum Newish Mom Support Group with Claire Rogers for 6 weeks. You have the Fun Night is back on Katie and me with Pet of Love on Mondays in the morning. And Principles and Embodiment of Trauma-Sensitive Yoga for people who are interested in that. But be well, stay safe, have a great rest of the year. If I don't see you on Wednesdays for a little while, have a great holidays, the new year. Oh, that's not the right button. Oops. There we are. All right, cool. Amorgos. Amorgos. All right.
Don't forget to use the correct emphasis.
Yes, that's the thing. That's where it's really difficult, right?
Well, the Greeks have it wrong. So everything that you want to pronounce in Greek,
emphasis. All right.
It's just the wrong way of saying it. That's the right way.
All right.
Bye.
It was great seeing the two of you. If I get to see you on Mondays, I'll look out for you.
Okay.
Your semester is done